All right, I think we'll get started. It's 3 o'clock, so thanks for joining us today. In this session, we're going to cover how Danone and Scotts Miracle-Gro have partnered with Breakthrough to reduce truckload energy costs by up to 20%, and how firsthand you'll hear how these strategies are driving real impact in their organizations still today. But before we get started, let's see if this is going to work. There we go. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Danielle Grant, and I'm a director of client delivery at Breakthrough. So I lead the team that works directly with our shippers to optimize their transportation networks, reduce energy costs, and also manage emissions. So now I'm going to hand it over to Brent from Danone to tell us a little bit about his organization and his role.
Hey, everyone. Good. Thanks for coming. So I will go over Danone a little bit first, and then I'll introduce myself and give you some relevant background post that. So Danone is a French-owned large food and beverage manufacturer. We've got revenues of approximately $30 billion. About 25% of that is located in the U.S. And we're driving these revenues through three kind of unique business streams. So for in the U.S., this is the one that folks out here may resonate with. EDP, which is our essential dairy and plant-based portfolio. Hopefully some of those you can see some of those brands that are resonating. Oikos, Silk, International Delight, Stoke, Danimals. I don't know if that one's up there. So I guess here's a chance for my plug. So if you are purchasing some of these products, thank you. If you're not, maybe next time you're at the grocery store, give one a shot. Some good products here. So the second business line, waters, a lot of international pieces up there. You guys might recognize Evian. And then our third is kind of specialized nutrition. We're manufacturing products. We've got 13 different manufacturing plants in the U.S. We make over 90% of our products here locally in the U.S. For myself, Brent Janezic, I lead Danone's logistics purchasing for the U.S. and Canada. We're buying pallets, we're buying warehousing, mainly chilled, and then for the purposes of this discussion, also transportation. So we are a large shipper, and for the purposes of that, we're buying majorly full truckload. We do buy LTL. We're buying a lot of things that you probably think that we are buying. Shuttle, dedicated, we're doing some cross-border, some brokerage pieces as well. So we're shipping from, I want to say, a little bit more than 40 locations across our, chilled 3PLs, our own manufacturing plants, a couple thousand different lane combinations, 180,000 shipments annually. Within this piece, I'd like to think that we are proactive. We are, working 12, 18, 24 months out in terms of project planning and execution. I'd like to think that we're thinking strategic. We're not, wondering what we're going to work on, today. So that's Danone. Thanks for coming, and that's a little bit of background on myself.
Thanks. And now, Courtney, can you tell us a little bit about Scotts Miracle-Gro and your role there?
Sure. So Scotts is the world's largest marketer of branded consumer lawn and garden products, as well as indoor hydroponics. We are a U.S. manufacturer, and we bring in around $3.6 billion in revenue every year. I've been with Scotts for about 4 years. Prior to that time, I was with Abbott Nutrition. And then I actually started over on the carrier side as a domestic broker and international freight forwarder. In my current role, I lead our domestic and international transportation team, as well as our order fulfillment and deployment teams. And we move around 75,000 shipments a year, all within the U.S. for our garden and ortho division. And those break out into dry van, intermodal, and less than truckload modes. Within that, about 75% of our annual net sales happen in our second and third quarter. So that makes our business quite seasonal. It pretty much leads to some unique buying strategies on our freight side of things.
Great, thank you. So I want to set the stage real quick with a little bit about Breakthrough. Here's our ecosystem to give you a better understanding. It's the foundation that powers all of our service offerings at Breakthrough. So you can see here our data encompasses 28 million in shipments, which is about $32 billion in transportation spend. We work across all of the industries you can see on the far side there. So retail, food and beverage, manufacturing. It really allows us to identify patterns, benchmark performance, and deliver tailored solutions to our shippers, regardless of what industry they're operating in. And then that data is powering our energy, freight, and sustainability solutions. And each is designed to help our shippers make more efficient and data-driven decisions, and enables better strategy too. So whether that's reducing their energy costs, optimizing transportation networks, or advancing their sustainability initiatives. And today we're going to be focusing on energy, specifically fuel recovery. So Breakthrough's fuel recovery program is a market-based approach that is aligning fuel reimbursement to the actual cost of fuel along the lane that the load is traveling on the day it is picked up. We also take into account taxes based on how many miles are driven through the state, and we include a fuel consumption component. So at the heart of fuel recovery is gaining visibility into your true energy spend. And this is allowing precise understanding of your energy spend versus using like a generalized national index. And you can see the image on the left shows one of those traditional index-based programs. They're from the 1980s. They are related to the Department of Energy's National Retail Index. It's one number for the entire country. It doesn't take into account taxes. So what we're really looking at here is a lane example that is showing about a 46-cent delta per gallon along the lane of Milwaukee to Atlanta when you're looking at a national retail index compared to a market-based approach. So this is real-time alignment with the global crude oil market and the opportunity to drive more accurate cost management. So now we're going to get into some questions here. Danone actually implemented with Breakthrough in 2022, and I was part of that implementation team, so I got to see that come to life in real time. So Brent, can you tell us with Danone what factors influenced your decision to partner with Breakthrough for fuel recovery?
No problem. So there's kind of two pieces that I looked at and was responsible for doing. So the first one is, so I work in the procurement group, so it doesn't matter what you're buying within, with whatever company you're looking at. If you're buying something, you need to know what is making up your costs. You need to have visibility into it. You need to know what's driving it, and is there something that I can do about it to buy it better. So when you're talking about truckload freight, fuel is making up 20% of that. So there are a number of ways to buy fuel via freight. You actually don't even need anything. You can run just a straight number. I would not recommend doing this, but you can. You've got a DOE based. Obviously that's pretty popular. You've got a percentage based. Maybe it's a little bit more regional with some sort of pad reimbursement. But for me, with the Breakthrough fuel reimbursement platform, this provides an exact cost. It provides, she just talked about it. It's point A to point B, the cost specific to that route on that exact day. You cannot get a more precise fuel number than that. It's impossible. That's available. So that's point one, and then point two is, we're always looking at different projects to do. So I got 1 million projects. So which ones do I do? Well, I'm going to look at what's the complexity of that versus what's the potential payoff. It's a simple evaluation. When we talk about Breakthrough Fuel, the value, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. The value's high, and if you look at the complexity, it's probably like mid-low to medium. So when you parse these together, this is a project for me that should be prioritized. So I guess the answer is twofold: spend, visibility, and then what I just kind of discussed with the complexity versus the payoff.
And Courtney, thinking about Scotts Miracle-Gro implemented in 2023 with Breakthrough, what influenced the decision to move forward to have Breakthrough manage your fuel program?
Yeah, so I had a previous relationship with Breakthrough Fuel at Abbott, so it was pretty easy for me. But really, it came down to our manual tracking. It just became completely overwhelming with our operation to go in and update the DOE you saw on there each week. We didn't have any integration. It was all manual at that time. So a lot of operational efficiencies gained, a lot of visibility gained, as well as the cost savings that they presented as well.
And Brent, still kind of on the implementation track here, what about the integration with Breakthrough? How has that impacted Danone's transportation networks and influenced other decision-making?
Okay, so this one's kind of twofold as well. You've got pieces external and pieces internal. So on the external front, like I'm a big proponent of bidding. I'm not just going to assign freight. I'm going to put everything into a competitive environment. So that's annual bids. It's monthly mini bids. It's if you've got something that's popping up that's a moderate volume. I want to throw a bid together right away. So we're always asking our vendors to price, and as part of that, what they know is if they're running, we as the shipper are running Breakthrough Fuel, they know that we are going to be paying a very fair, transparent, and equitable price. There's no way to put a buffer or fluff associated with it. It's very parallel. It's very transparent. I know I said that word. So there's a lot of different ways that this could be approached from the vendor. Like, for example, if we were running a DOE program, well, the DOE is an average. So if you're in one specific area and the fuel is actually more expensive than the DOE is reimbursing, they're gonna fluff up your line haul number. So the next thing you know, that's not a true line haul number. There's a mix in there, and the same thing holds true on vice versa as well. So it's a very transparent number, and then that reflects back to what ultimately what I'm doing on the procurement side. So the numbers come in, and I guess maybe I could preface that with the accessorial piece. You gotta have your accessorials dialed in, and you're paying correct, because otherwise it's the same thing where they could essentially offset some of those costs and put in your line haul. So assuming that's good, you're on Breakthrough Fuel. The costs that I'm getting are true. I am comparing the exact cost on that line haul piece, and that's very valuable. And then I guess the second piece, it kind of parlays a little bit more. Now that I know exactly what I'm paying for fuel exactly across the board, that helps our budgeting process. And then it also, that parlays into kind of a fuel hedging process as well. So it's a lot of visibility to paying a very fair, accurate, equitable, transparent cost associated with fuel.
Moving into the goals and priorities that we've had, Brent, I'm going back to you again. Can you share what some of the initial goals were when we started working together, and then how they've evolved?
Okay. I didn't know it was me again.
Oh,
so
sorry.
It's, no,
I didn't
okay.
want to give you a break. You're just doing
No, I'm
great.
just kidding. It's fine. So there's kind of three pieces. So the first one is three pieces of itself. So it's number one, I want a smooth, effective implementation. So the next piece that kind of moves into paying the vendors exactly what we owe them for fuel in every time. And then the third is that there is value, and Danone calls it productivity as cost savings that's associated with this project. So as of right now, we implement a while ago. That's kind of water under the bridge. So how is the value consistently being delivered? And it's through data. So an example that I can talk about here is the MPG, or the miles per gallon fuel efficiency factor. So Breakthrough's got a lot of shippers that are using this program. Every shipper has to plug in an efficiency factor. Names removed, I can understand what other shippers, large, mid, small, similar industry, different industry, are paying on that efficiency factor, and that allows me as a shipper, or would allow you if you're using this platform, to have a really good understanding of what's that correct number to use. And you have the visibility, so you can go right in the average, the medium, you could lean in a little bit more, you could set the bar. There's a lot of different strategies around doing this and what it means for your network, but it's all super positive. And then the third piece really is that, that budgeting and finance aspect that I was kind of discussing earlier. There's a lot of value to that. It's kind of outside of my zone because that's in the financial piece, but I can tell you that there's a positive benefit there.
And Courtney, same question to you. What were kind of the first goals working with Breakthrough for Scotts Miracle-Gro, and then how have those changed?
Yeah, so we started off with cost savings and operational efficiencies. I think we continue to work on those through continuous improvement projects that are recommended to us and by evaluating recommended MPG each year. But in addition, we actually are in a unique situation as a business where we're transitioning solutions for our TMS. So right now, with that complex transition, we really need a strong vendor support, and Breakthrough has shown up for that.
Back to Courtney now. So gaining buy-in from operations managers and vendors is critical for success. So what strategies or support has Breakthrough been able to lend that help you achieve this and reduce that manual workload that you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, focusing on that automation and operational efficiencies, we're really a old school transportation solution just a few years ago. Everything was manual, not a lot of systems integrations. So our larger strategies have been focusing on making that transition with tech and technology to get there. So Breakthrough has definitely been a part of that. They've supported us with that. The seamless integration to our system, it really brings a lot of visibility so that we can focus on those projects and focus on future cost-saving solutions and have accurate rates that we're comparing in our analyses. And in addition to getting just time back in the operation to focus on more strategy-driven goals, we also are getting time back on the rate audit side. They're catching things proactively that might not be applying correctly. It's saving us on the invoicing at the end of the day, too. Really, I think using the data and recommendations for future projects is where we're headed. And I see some awesome projects in the pipeline that we're going to be working on.
So now thinking about partnerships, Breakthrough was honored to be recognized by Danone with their Partner for Growth Award. Brent, can you tell us a little bit about that award and then how it reflects the success that we've had with our two businesses collaborating together?
Yes, sure. So the Partner for Growth program, P4G, it's an acronym that it's not actually overly complex, but it is a global internal program that looks to identify suppliers where it's been identified that there's potential significant incremental value for also the supplier, but also for Danone. So, in essence, it's a supplier that we want to grow, that we want to lever, that we want to try running in different CBUs in different geographies in different countries and so forth. So what it really means is that we've deployed them here. It's worked. It's generated a significant amount of value, and it continues to deliver value. So people have noticed. So we've identified them as a partner for growth, and we want to expand.
Awesome. So Courtney, with Scotts Miracle-Gro, thinking about our partnership, those vendor transitions that you're talking about, those are very complex, time-consuming. I know you said you'll be happy when yours is done, fully done. Can you share how our organizations work together to ensure business continuity during those critical phases of transition?
Yeah, so we've gone through 3 different system transitions since going live with Breakthrough originally. And really, the Breakthrough team has been right there at the table with us. So sitting in the integration calls, making sure they're sitting in hypercare, focusing on getting it right. They really come to the table as the experts in the system. They know the mapping for several different solutions, not just one. We really have tested them. And really just focusing on them to be the experts and really educate our IT team as well. So I think they've been a great partner. I always felt confident that they're coming to each meeting with a plan to make sure that we're successful at the end of the day.
So now that we've talked about implementations and partnerships, we're going to touch on the outcomes of moving to a market-based fuel recovery program. So your organizations have seen about 20% reduction in truckload energy and about 45, we'll say, % reduction in intermodal fuel spend. And across your organizations, there are 4 future savings initiatives that we're going to talk about in a couple minutes here. But significant savings have been achieved through this energy cost management and sustainability. Brent, can you share more about how these strategies have delivered measurable results at Danone?
Yeah, so there's I guess a couple pieces to this. So when you start to engage with Breakthrough Fuel, they're going to have a look at your network, your volume of shipments, how much you're paying for fuel currently, and they're going to bump that up against, well, what would I have paid with Breakthrough Fuel? And they're going to multiply that through, and you're going to understand what that total value proposition is. So to realize the value, I'm not going to speak essentially on behalf of Breakthrough Fuel. I know there's a number of ways that you can implement this program. For me, there's only one way, and it's through a bid. You got to do a network-wide bid. It's got to be competitive. When you're, a structured approach, I'm going to be looking for 30, 40, 50 bids per lane across your network. And you're going to go through and assign your vendors like you would normally. And your awards are going to be out. So where the value is coming in, obviously you'll have to partner with finance to understand how this will work on an ongoing basis. But generally you can't take all the savings immediately. What you're going to do is you're going to true up your actual number of shipments that have been executed in the past month, and you're going to compare what you would have been paying off of your old surcharge to what you have paid now on Breakthrough Fuel. You're going to multiply that through on your volumes. And you're going to tally it up, and you're going to, essentially do this every month for 12 months. I can tell you that, I've done a couple implementations with Breakthrough Fuel. I mean, these savings are real. They are recognized. It's substantial. So, thank you.
And Courtney, kind of same question to you. How have these strategies delivered results at Scotts?
Yeah, so we're moving into our third year with Breakthrough. Year one, our procurement team was hesitant. They saw the subscription-based model, and they said, there's no way you're going to get this savings. And after looking at the efficiencies that we gain, the visibility we gain, we were able to get the project over the finish line and had no issue achieving those savings, as Brent mentioned. So in year two, we really focused on the MPG change for our truckload and intermodal. With that, we strategized with the Breakthrough team, made sure that we looked at our bid process and rolled out a change that would not take away from any line haul savings, but also achieve any fuel savings that might come with that MPG change as well. So again, we've seen the results they've delivered. I think going forward, what we are going to work on is more of those CIs, more of the fun projects, I like to say, and review those MPG changes going forward.
So flexible and effective relationship management is always critical for success here. How has this approach strengthened your partnerships? Brent, you can go first.
Well, I'm here, right? So
Good point.
I didn't know how that would go over. Okay. So maybe I'll eat my foot, I guess, a little bit with this one. I talked about the project complexity versus the payoff, and when you're, depending on how you're set up and so forth, it's that mid-low to a moderate complexity of a project. So it still is a project, and you have to manage this thing closely. It's not something that you're going to be able to implement in 10 minutes or a couple days. You're going to have a project team essentially behind it. You're going to have your operations group on board. You're going to have to, finance is going to be on board because you're going to be calculating a lot of different things differently. And I talked about the budgeting process before. The procurement group, that's the part that I'm in. You're going to want to run that full network-wide bid that's surrounding that whole piece. If you're using a TMS, I know you don't need a TMS for Breakthrough Fuel, but it's definitely recommended. So if you are using that, there's integration work, there's testing, making sure everybody's on the same page. The vendor piece, the vendors need to be 100% on board with this. They cannot have a single question about it. So to do all of these pieces, there's different experts at Breakthrough Fuel. They're on point, they're responsive, professional. I've done 2 implementations. I did the U.S. and then I also did Canada. I actually did Canada first. They both went lights out. We had a couple problems here and there, but we worked through them. The whole program worked, and now we're essentially looking to roll Breakthrough Fuel out, other platforms, other countries, et cetera. So it's it's positive, quite positive.
Courtney, what's your perspective on the relationship and change management?
Yeah, so I would say with our carriers, we ran into a lot of carriers that were already familiar with the Breakthrough Fuel program, so saw a lot of positive expectations there, I guess would be the best way to put it. Also, just our relationship with Breakthrough has grown quite a bit. We've gotten to know our team. They're very responsive, not only through our integration and educating our IT teams, but working through the day-to-day operation. So having them always be responsive and available and reach out to know our strategies and pain points, again, with a focus on those CIs in the future, that's driven a lot of value.
So now we're going to talk about some of those future-looking strategic initiatives that I mentioned earlier across the two organizations, and Brent just alluded to one of them. What is the strategy behind expanding fuel recovery globally for Danone?
Well, it's a proven program that drives a lot of value that we want to look to expand. We talked a little bit about it earlier, but some of the things that we're actively reviewing right now, across the globe, they're running the same types of things that we're running in the U.S. Breakthrough Fuel is up there in terms of program that we're strongly evaluating. So we're looking at fuel recovery right now overseas in Europe for our road freight over there. We're looking at it down in Mexico. And the third piece, I don't manage this piece either, I guess, but it's our ocean freight. So we run quite a bit of waters, so our Evian platform. And we're looking at the Breakthrough Fuel marine fuel recovery program for that. So those three things we're actively executing right now.
Awesome. Now thinking about sustainability, Danone's sustainability projects have also been a top standout initiative, I would say. Can you share how working with Breakthrough has advanced sustainability goals and influenced some of your carrier partnerships?
Okay, sure. So this is my last one here. So
Hang in there, almost there.
So I don't know if I could publicly kind of talk about the CO2 goals that we have, but what I can tell you is that they are big reductions and they require huge movements. As a part of that, logistics is part of this. So I'm tasked with reducing a significant amount of CO2 over the next 4 or 5 years. So when you're talking about the logistics function, there's really 3 ways to eliminate or reduce that. So first one is manufacture closer to customer. You're going to pull miles out, and not only miles, but you're going to pull cost out. That's outside of my scope and responsibility. It's more on the network optimization, planning, et cetera. The other one is through putting more in a truck. So, you're shipping 95% full instead of 90% full. You're going to pull one every, whatever it is, 25 trucks off the road. And then you're going to count that as a miles reduction. You're going to reduce your CO2. So we're involved a little bit on that front with, the TMS optimizer. So there's a number of things that procurement's involved, but in the end, that's really kind of on the operations group to run and execute. There's a lot of technicalities there. So the third piece is a mode conversion. So that's where I guess my team kind of comes in, and the easy one is intermodal. Let's flip over to intermodal. Well, everyone already knows this. So there's only so much that you can do with intermodal. So once that's extinguished, what's the next step? So a lot of shippers out there, including us, we're looking at, how can we convert to electric at the shuttle piece. So this is all good. The problem with it, though, for me anyways, is that I have to remove a huge amount. Like if I was to convert all of my shuttles right now to electric, like I wouldn't even notice that in the reporting. Like it just wouldn't even, it'd be a rounding error. So I need to take out huge miles, massive miles, big volumes, and convert that on a different type of mode. And I'm not saying this is not an easy project. And so what does that mean for us? So we've evaluated a number of things, and it's really CNG, RNG, compressed natural gas. So there's a lot of pieces to this, and if this is going to be a type of dedicated equipment, well, I know how to do a dedicated fleet. It's going to have to run through a continuous moving fleet. Like the second that you're paying for something on a dedicated fleet and it's not running, cash register is moving. It's moving in the wrong direction. So you're going to have this large continuous fleet network that's essentially bought and priced in a dedicated piece because this equipment's not mainstream yet. So I know how to do all that. The problem for me on this is how do you do this across existing infrastructure with CNG? So this is where I know we're talking about Breakthrough Fuel Reimbursement Program. They've got a separate kind of sustainability stream that Danone has partnered with on them to really help overlay what that network would look like on top of not only existing infrastructure, but infrastructure that we may need to build or partner with another, I guess, shipper, or I actually don't know who we partner with. But there's so much to this that I am very foggy on. Like, how do these stations work? Where are they? Can trucks that I would hire actually fill up at these stations? How does the fuel pricing work? How do the forward contracts work with the CNG? I don't know. I need help. That is where we've looked to partner with Breakthrough Fuel. We're parsing all of this out now. It's actually pretty exciting because we're actually going to make a big dent in the CO2 piece, pending we're able to push all these pieces through. But it's a big piece to the puzzle. It's a big unlock. I don't know how to do it myself without engaging some help. So that's what we're doing, and that's what we're executing.
Yeah, and we're happy to be that kind of trusted advisor in that space, and hopefully save you some hours or headcount to kind of fill those gaps for you as you're working towards your sustainability goals. Now, Courtney, what additional efforts have contributed to sustainability progress at Scotts?
Yeah, so I'm glad I met my buddy Brent because currently we don't have anything at play, but it is definitely in our roadmap in the future. So maybe asking you some questions later.
And
Sounds good.
in case there's any lawyers in the room, I do want to make a very clear statement that this next question is just for Courtney at Scotts Miracle-Gro. So, Brent, you can relax. You are all done. Courtney, can you tell us a little bit about how Scotts Miracle-Gro is using pricing analytics for some of your strategic decision making?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, as we implemented, we obviously achieved that cost savings through the analysis that Breakthrough provided. In year 2, we had the MPG change as well. Going forward, we're going to be using their pricing analytic tool as our benchmarking tool. And really, that's going to be used to help us estimate spend when our internal partners come to us with changes in our network. It'll help us to have leverage in discussions with carriers to ensure that we're getting fair line haul rates, and really just evaluate future spend risk as well.
All right, I have a couple key takeaways before we open it up for Q&A here. So first, establish a robust foundation for fuel management. So this begins with gaining transparency into your true energy spend, reimbursing carriers on the actual cost of fuel versus a generalized index. And this is really going to create a more equitable shipper-carrier relationship and sets the stage for better and more strategic, data-driven decision-making. Second, important to remember, fuel recovery is not a one-time solution. It's an ongoing progress. Like both of our speakers have mentioned here, there's ongoing opportunities for improvements. So whether it's fuel efficiency changes, jumping into alternative energies and different fuel types, or leveraging strong carrier partnerships. And then finally, important to align your energy spend with your broader business and organization goals. So again, expanding regionally, shifting modes, advancing your sustainability initiatives. Important to have a flexible roadmap, and Breakthrough can help you develop that. We would work closely with you to build a roadmap that's scalable and tailored to your unique network. So now I'd like to open it up for Q&A, and if you have any questions, we'd love to see you at the mic, if you don't mind. Otherwise, I can also repeat the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So how does your breakthrough fuel approach capture the non-standard variables impacting Mexico cross-border pricing, particularly the ones related to the Huachicol problem, which is like, they're selling fuel in the black market that's been exported from the U.S. to Mexico.
Oh.
So how do you guys control those nuances? Because I work at the border, so I see those problems constantly.
Yeah, so in terms of our energy, what we're doing is we're actually calculating the cost of fuel based on the fuel price along the lane. So we would take in that Milwaukee to Atlanta example, we would pull in all 53 accessible fueling stations along the lane and come up with the average fuel price along that route. So I think at least through our subscription-based models and the pricing that we're pulling in, we're only using actual like fueling stations. But that's a really good question that I could take back to our team and try and get you a good answer on that.
Okay, thanks. No, because like even if you like, do the numbers and the numbers are right, at the very end you will be financing the people that are like basically stealing and selling the fuel in the black market. So unless you have a tool that can vet those carriers prior to it, and make sure that whoever your 3PL is, or whoever you're working with, you need to make sure that that's like checked, because otherwise it's not just like fueling their pockets, but also liability for Danone, for you, for me, and for you. So it has like different nuances that it's those are not usually discussed in panels. So I appreciate you guys are here.
Very interesting. Thank you for the question. Anybody else? Oh, an alarm? Yeah.
I don't like silence.
Okay, great.
Just
Neither.
out of curiosity, when you're implementing this, are you going retroactive with any contracts that you have, or Brent, is it something that you were mentioning where you put everything out to bid newly? Everything's fresh, everything starts from with a new bid, or do you go retroactive with the current providers that you have?
Yeah, nothing retroactive. It's a forward-looking bid. Everything's reset.
Yeah, we took a similar approach.
Can you expand on that?
All right, if you could watch in your email for a survey to come out, we'd really appreciate it if you could take a second to rate this session. And then also we would love to continue this conversation at our booth. So I'll have both Brent and Courtney at booth 805 after this. If you could stop over and talk freight, sustainability, energy. If you want a t-shirt, we've got some t-shirts. So please stop over, and thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to join our session today.